Hello gamers, this is Si, and welcome back to Which Way Games. Drivers, fasten your seatbelt, get your engines ready, and go! And with that being said, let's get on with the video. Once again, we're going back to the world of 64-bit with the Nintendo 64. Most gamers know the history and development of this amazing console, which I must admit is one of my favourites. But for gamers who don't know, then let me give you a brief rundown. The Nintendo 64 was released in the mid-90s worldwide and was a successor to the Super Nintendo that came before. Silicon Graphics played a part in the graphical development of the N64, and a meeting with Nintendo initiated Project Reality. This project would lead to the creation of the Nintendo 64, with many teams working together in the development of one of the greatest consoles of all time. With many development names such as the Ultra Famicom, it wouldn't be until Earthbound series developer Shigesato Itoi suggested the name of Nintendo 64. While other gaming consoles focused on using CDs for their games, Nintendo stuck with what they know best and used cartridges for the N64. One reason for this is games such as Zelda had an internal memory that allowed gamers to save their game without the need of a memory card. I do love this game. The only downside to the cartridge format was the higher cost in production, as well as the possibility of having games delayed due to a cartridge shortage. Other than that, the Nintendo 64 blessed gamers with some great games, with some that are still played today. One game, however, that always makes gamers smile, possibly due to its name, as well as the genre it fits into, is Diddy Kong Racing. Diddy Kong Racing is a racing game developed by Rare, who, as some gamers will know, are famous for other games such as Banjo-Kazooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day, and the legendary GoldenEye. Development of Diddy Kong Racing began after Killer Instinct 2 was released in the arcades. However, Diddy Kong Racing didn't start out as a racing game we know of today. In early development, it was conceived as a real-time strategy game with themes of time travel. Being inspired by Disney, the game would undergo yet another change and evolve into a fun racing game called Wild Cartoon Kingdom. But this soon changed once again, and the new title will be called Pro-Am 64. With Banjo-Kazooie being delayed, Rare wanted to release a AAA game in time for Christmas to take advantage of the holiday season. Rare felt that Pro-Am 64 didn't have enough of a following to capture the attention of the gamers, and after demoing the game to Shigeru Miyamoto, he suggested that it should feature Diddy Kong as well as a few of his close friends who would have games of their own, which I'll come back to later. Diddy Kong first made an appearance in Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo. He was originally created by Rare to be an updated version of Donkey Kong Jr., but Nintendo weren't too keen on the changes Rare had made. Nintendo gave Rare a choice. They could either use the original design of Donkey Kong Jr. or rename this new version of him. Obviously, Rare liked the new version so much that they decided to name it Diddy Kong. With him being introduced in Donkey Kong Country, it only seemed fair for Diddy Kong to feature in his own game. The overall goal for Diddy Kong Racing was to create a racing game that would play like Mario Kart 64, as well as showcasing some new ideas. While Mario Kart 64 used sprites for its characters, Diddy Kong Racing decided to use 3D models, which at first did cause issues for the development team. But eventually this problem was sorted, and Diddy Kong Racing ran as smooth as Mario Kart 64. And in late '97, Diddy Kong Racing was released in time for the holiday season. We all know what time it is now, so let's go back to the past to see how this game was advertised. The plot of Diddy Kong Racing takes place in a tropical paradise known as Timber's Island. Timber the Tiger has been put in charge of the island while his parents have decided to go on holiday. While they're away, Timber as well as a few of his friends organise a friendly racing circuit. However, their enjoyment is put to a stop when an evil intergalactic pig wizard called Wizpig arrives on the island. Wizpig attempts to take over the island by winning all the races, like he did on his own planet called Future Funland. Using his magic, Wizpig turns the 4 guardians of the island into his henchmen, and the only solution is for the island's inhabitants to stop Wizpig in a series of races using different vehicles. Drumstick Rooster, who is known as the best racer on the island, loses his race against Wizpig and is turned into a frog. Timber the Tiger then recruits the help of Diddy Kong, Banjo the Bear and Conker the Squirrel in helping him defeat Wizpig. These 3 then recruit more of the inhabitants of the island and a whole new series of races begin. But before I carry on, let's take a moment to appreciate the music of Diddy Kong Racing. The music was composed by David Wise, who created a lot of the soundtracks for games by Rare, and as gamers can tell, the music is so light-hearted, you can't help but like it. Starting out in what is essentially the hub world for Diddy Kong Racing, gamers are free to roam around and interact with Taj, the Indian elephant. Within the hub world there are doors that lead to the various areas where the races are located. However, to unlock these doors, gamers must collect the correct number of golden balloons found within the hub world, as well as winning them at the end of each race. Gamers have the choice of 8 characters to choose from, very much like Mario Kart 64. But unlike Mario Kart 64, gamers can use different vehicles to race in. The vehicles are a car, a plane and a hovercraft, each with their own perks and signature stages. Gameplay for Diddy Kong Racing follows the same style of most racing games with 3 laps per stage. In total there are 20 stages that are split up into 5 cup categories, with some varying paths and shortcuts. Throughout each stage, power-ups are available via the balloons on each track, giving gamers an advantage to take down the opposition. However, the computer-controlled characters can also collect these power-ups, so gamers beware. There's nothing worse when the finish line is in sight and a stray rocket takes you out, making you lose the race. Throughout Diddy Kong Racing, not only are there golden balloons and power-ups to be collected, but also bananas as well. With enough bananas collected, when gamers drive over the zipper, they'll be given a longer amount of boost, which is kind of a speed increase, even if it's for a short time. As gamers progress through the game, they'll have to face up against the 4 guardians who are now Wizpig's henchmen. But beating them in a race will return them back to normal, and another balloon is collected. After each race, gamers can go back and unlock the Silver Coin Challenge, which if all 8 coins are collected, a chance to beat the boss occurs once again. If gamers beat the boss, then a piece of Wizpig's amulet is rewarded, which will help in unlocking more challenges throughout the game. One challenge that gamers can do while playing is to look for the wish keys that unlock a hidden race with its own rewards. Going back to some of the friends of Diddy Kong who would eventually have their own games, I'm mainly talking about Banjo the Bear and Conker the Squirrel. As I mentioned earlier, Banjo-Kazooie was delayed, so it's nice to see that Rare decided to include him in Diddy Kong Racing, to build up a bit of a fan base possibly. Obviously, for some gamers, Banjo-Kazooie is an absolute gem of a game to play, as well as its sequel Banjo-Tooie. As for Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, well, it's not necessarily a bad game. It doesn't follow the same style as the first 2, which is such a shame as gamers have been waiting for Banjo 3E for years. Maybe one day, gamers will get Banjo 3E. As for Conker the Squirrel, who was going to have a game called 12 Tales or Conker 64, but things change. However, it's nice to see a fresh face and sober Conker in Diddy Kong Racing. Obviously, this is short-lived, but that's for another time. After the release of Diddy Kong Racing, a sequel was in the works for Nintendo's new console called the GameCube. This sequel was going to be known as Donkey Kong Racing, but this got cancelled when Nintendo turned down the opportunity to purchase Rare. It does make me wonder what kind of Nintendo games gamers would have now if Rare was still part of the huge team of Nintendo. Going back to the challenges within Diddy Kong Racing, these certainly add to the replayability value, especially Adventure Mode 2, which is an even harder version of the game, and some of the existing boss challenges will certainly put the best races to the test. And obviously, let's not forget the all-important multiplayer mode. Diddy Kong Racing can have up to 4 races, just like Mario Kart 64. There's something more fun than playing against the other gamers while playing as small animal creatures who I'm sure haven't actually passed their driver's tests. Diddy Kong Racing is one of those games that should be on any gamer's list, especially for a games night. Overall, Diddy Kong Racing is one of those games that aims to be fun at all times, and certainly achieves that. Even the name brings a smile to the face. With its bright colours, decent gameplay and catchy music, it's a wonder for the senses. Although it can be frustrating at times, especially with stray rockets like I mentioned earlier, but this only adds to the addictive nature of Diddy Kong Racing. With both Mario Kart 64 and Diddy Kong Racing being similar, it does beg the question, which one is better? On one hand, we have a game that is well known throughout the world thanks to the Italian plumber and its great gameplay. And on the other hand, we have a game with multiple vehicles, great music and fun gameplay. I'll have to come back to Mario Kart 64 in later videos. Anyway, come back next time with a group of mutants with special abilities must stop the master of magnetism and its plans of world domination. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next game.